The day they fired me, I was on my knees scrubbing coffee stains out of the executive hallway carpet while 3 vice presidents argued about bonuses 10 feet away like I was part of the furniture. One of them stepped over my cleaning bucket without even looking down. Then Leonard Grayson stopped, glanced at my name tag, and said something I still remember word for word. Guys like this should honestly be grateful they're even allowed in the building. Everybody laughed. Not loud. Just enough. That small, comfortable kind of laughter people use when they think someone beneath them can't hurt them. Yeah. That sat with me a long time. Especially because 20 minutes later, Leonard fired me for violating workplace professionalism. My violation? I'd quietly told him not to kick my mop bucket again. That was it. 5 years later, I bought his company. Funny how life circles back around when people mistake patience for weakness. Back then I worked nights as a janitor at Belridge Financial in Chicago. Midnight to 8. Mostly empty hallways, burnt coffee smells, flickering conference rooms, and executives who treated eye contact like it cost money. I was 38. Divorced. Behind on rent. My daughter Ivy lived with her mother in Milwaukee because I couldn't afford anything stable enough for shared custody. That part ate at me more than the job ever did. Honestly, I didn't even hate cleaning floors. Work is work. My dad repaired subway tunnels for 27 years. Came home covered in grease every night and still somehow managed to sit through Little League games smiling like life was good. He used to say, "Never let embarrassed people decide your value." At the time, I didn't fully understand what he meant. Then I met Leonard Grayson. Leonard was Senior Operations Director at Belridge. Mid-50s. Expensive watches. Teeth too white. The kind of guy who spoke to everyone like he was timing how long they deserved to exist. He had this habit of talking around workers instead of to them. One night I overheard him telling an intern, "If you stop learning people's names below management level, your life becomes way easier." Guy thought he owned gravity. The crazy part? I stayed polite anyway. Not because I lacked pride. Mostly because survival makes you strategic. I needed health insurance. Needed overtime. Needed every dollar I could get. So when Leonard accidentally spilled espresso near freshly cleaned floors and walked away smirking, I cleaned it. When executives ignored my greetings, I nodded anyway. When younger analysts joked that I probably lived in the supply closet, I kept moving. But I watched. That's the thing invisible workers become really good at. Watching. You notice who's panicking before layoffs. Who's lying in meetings. Which departments are bleeding money while pretending everything's fine. Belridge looked polished from outside, but internally? Messy. Ancient software systems. Terrible logistics coordination. Mountains of wasted operational spending. And every night while emptying trash bins, I'd quietly study the discarded reports executives never bothered shredding properly. Patterns started forming in my head. Not revenge plans exactly. Just ideas. See, before life derailed, I'd actually studied systems engineering for 2 years. Had to drop out after my mother got sick. Bills stacked up. Life happened. But the brain doesn't always forget what it almost became. After getting fired, I drove home in silence during freezing rain with my cleaning uniform still on. No dramatic breakdown. Just numbness. My landlord taped an overdue notice to my apartment door the next morning. That's when things got real. I picked up warehouse shifts. Drove delivery vans. Slept maybe 4 hours a night for months. Somewhere in there, I started building operational tracking software on an old second-hand laptop. Nothing glamorous. Just a system designed to reduce waste in large companies. Simple idea. Simple ideas make the most money when everyone else overcomplicates things to sound intelligent. A former Belridge security guard named Matteo helped me test early versions through his cousin's shipping company. Matteo mattered. Everybody needs one person who still talks to them like a human being when life gets ugly. He used to bring gas station coffee during late coding nights and say things like, "Man, these corporate idiots got no clue who they threw away." I'd laugh it off. But secretly, those words kept me moving. The software worked. Small businesses started using it first. Then regional distribution companies. Then logistics chains. By year 3, I had 12 employees. By year 5, Stratline Systems handled operational infrastructure for companies across 4 states. That still feels strange saying out loud. Because mentally I never stopped being the exhausted janitor carrying industrial trash bags through marble hallways at 2 in the morning. Anyway, the Belridge situation came back into my life during an acquisition opportunity. Their stock was collapsing quietly after years of internal waste and terrible leadership decisions. Investors were nervous. Executives started fleeing. Including Leonard. Apparently arrogance ages poorly under pressure. When my advisors suggested acquiring Belridge's operational division, I almost said no immediately. Not from anger. More because some doors feel spiritually exhausting. But then I saw something interesting in the financial breakdown. Hundreds of employees were about to lose jobs because leadership kept protecting executive bonuses while cutting worker support. Yeah. That didn't sit right. So I moved forward. The acquisition finalized on a Thursday afternoon. I didn't attend the first transition meeting personally. But Leonard requested one after seeing my name on the ownership documents. Of course he did. I scheduled it for Monday morning in the same executive conference hallway where he'd fired me years earlier. Not intentionally dramatic. Okay, maybe slightly dramatic. Still deserved though. When Leonard walked into the room, he looked older than 55. Stress does that. Makes expensive people suddenly look very ordinary. He stopped cold when he saw me standing near the windows. For a second, genuine confusion crossed his face. Then recognition hit. "You," he said quietly. I nodded once. "Morning, Leonard." He adjusted his tie immediately. Status reflex. People do funny things when power shifts rooms. I had no idea, he started. "Yeah," I said calmly. "Life moves." He tried smiling, but it kept slipping. The silence stretched. I honestly expected myself to feel triumphant. Instead I mostly felt tired. Like I'd carried the memory of this man too long already. Leonard cleared his throat. "Listen, about the past." I saved him the speech. "You treated people badly," I said. "Not just me." His eyes dropped. That surprised me. Not guilt exactly. Recognition. Like somewhere deep down, he already knew. I walked over to the conference table slowly. No one cared when janitors disappeared, I continued. No one cared when support staff got cut. But the second executives started losing comfort, suddenly everybody panicked. Leonard sat quietly. No comeback. No arrogance. Just a man finally hearing himself clearly. Then he asked the question I think had been bothering him since entering the room. "Why buy the company?" Good question. I looked through the glass walls at employees moving across departments carrying coffee cups, laptops, backpacks, regular people trying to survive another Monday. Then I answered honestly. Because companies fail when leadership forgets workers are human beings. That landed. You could see it. Leonard nodded slowly after that. Smaller somehow. Before leaving, he paused near the doorway and said, almost under his breath, "I underestimated you." I almost laughed. Because that wasn't the real mistake. The real mistake was believing someone's current position represented their final destination. 5 months later, Belridge had stabilized under new leadership. Employee retention improved. Custodial staff got full benefits for the first time in company history. Matteo became facilities director. Best promotion meeting I ever conducted. Sometimes late at night, I still walk through empty office floors after everybody leaves. Not because I have to. Because I remember. The smell of industrial cleaner. The sound of vacuum wheels over tile. The feeling of being ignored so completely you start questioning whether you exist at all. And honestly, that memory keeps me better than success ever could. Because the moment you forget what invisible people feel like, you become Leonard Grayson. And I'd rather clean floors forever than turn into that kind of man.